Haven't done this in a while. This is another start to finish weathering tutorial, so let's get rolling. So I usually do a dot fade with oils, which I'll demonstrate later, but demonstrate in another video. But I'm gonna be dry brushing a fade with Vallejo's model color acrylic paints for a dry brush fade. But I'll be doing the blue nose and the tail. This is a fictitious paint scheme. Did a little bit of weathering before, so I'm going to enhance this. Usually I don't do brushes first, but I decided to re-weather this. So I'm pouring out a little bit of white paint here. I'll be dry brushing it onto the model. So the first thing I do is take this, do a nice, basically you want to make sure you want to leave a little bit, not very much there. What you want to do is get a nice effect for the fade. So, sorry, I don't have my tripod with me, so I'm relying on the camera to see what I'm doing. So, yeah, so that's why my film work looks a little unsteady and my weathering looks a little unsteady. Oh, there we go. So, there we go. You can see, I'm going, so you can see, go easy, go slow, and you really should be, just, making it look more faded. Now, I'm going to do this a little more, so I'll be showing you, after I do this, I'll show you how to fade the blue. And it's not as subtle on the blue as it is on the other stuff, but you can see, oh, that's not good. And basically what you want to do is just kind of dry brush. It doesn't look as realistic as the dot fade in my opinion. I just wanted to get this all done in one video, which just wanted to get this, well, you could by cutting, but what I wanted to do was just show quickly how to do this, but maybe I'll do a more advanced video in the future. The next thing we're going to be doing is some rust and stuff like that. So first we're going to do rust and just streaking and chipping. So if I have a sponge, yep, I have a sponge, I'm going to apply some rust paint. So you should probably get a palette. I wouldn't recommend putting paint on your workbench, but this is a workbench designed completely for hobby use, and I don't have a palette on my hands. But so I'll be chipping the cab. You can see, go easy on white painted equipment, and the reason behind that is because you can really see this stuff, because and it's really easy to overdo this, especially with a white painted locomotive. And this is, by the way, a freelance paint scheme. It's the Atlantic Central, a fictitious railroad. I might talk more about that in the future. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure about doing that. But I could do. But what I really like to do would be to just the chipping. I really like, because I feel like this is sponge chipping. Just get a little sponge. I like getting it out of packaging locomotives, especially with these finer detailed steam locomotives. You can really find this stuff, but you can also get a sponge at an arts and crafts store. But it's usually in there too. You could use a kitchen sponge. I just wouldn't recommend that. But I'd recommend more a packaging sponge, or maybe an arts and crafts sponge. And you don't want to cut, you want to rip. And maybe you can get a little bit of cutting. And don't just randomly splotch it. What you want to do is chip downwards, or in a sort of direction. And there it goes. And crevices and nooks and crannies. Crevices and cracks and nooks and crannies. What you really want to do. See, I can use a bit of pencil to have a little bit of streaks. And you can see on the nose what I could put. some chipping right here on the front. I'll chip it a little more. You can see. There we go. So this locomotive has a bit of chipping, but what we're gonna do is some brush streaking in like various spots. And this is gonna be dry brushing. I'm gonna be doing a lot of dry brushing here. And if you realize, like what I did, put on too much, don't worry. Probably soften it. It's an older locomotive, so what you can do is soften it. And some of the old stuff you can, yeah, that looks good. Pretty happy with this. You could have a little bit of streaking down here. You can have streaking on vertical surfaces. I just wouldn't recommend it if you're newer because it's just sometimes a little easy to. It's an easy thing to get a mistake done with, and the reason also I'm gonna do a little bit of streaking on the vertical surfaces. Just gonna get it down there. I'm gonna kind of rust out the fans and the stack. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next is dust, and dust can be handled so many ways. But what I like to use is paint, and I'm gonna use some. And I know this brand, I believe, is out of business. Pretty sure that's out of business, and that's Floquil, and they're discontinued. Yeah, so they're discontinued. I don't think they're a thing anymore, but they make nice paints. So, but don't worry, there's plenty of dust options if you don't have Floquil and care. But they still sell them. I think they're gonna last for another 5, maybe 10 years. But there's so much dust options, and this is just gonna be dry brushing. I apologize for the repetition, but there's gonna be so much dry brushing. So I'm gonna take this out and dry brush. And I believe Floquil is an enamel, and you definitely want good ventilation when you're dealing with enamels. You don't want to be in a very closed space. So like a garage with the door open, or the windows open, or maybe even outside. Or at least just make sure that you're doing good ventilation, because it can be really bad if you don't have good ventilation. This stuff, it could be harmful in that situation if you're not well ventilated. Don't worry about it, but there's nothing. Just be careful. Also, that stuff, it's a strong smell. Yes, it's a very strong smell. So, but some nice stuff. So we're gonna, I know this is a bit light initially. This is what you want to do, light initially. And basically you want to build up as it goes. And just to mix things up a little, because I've been doing so much dry brushing, I'm gonna go and put some soot on it. Now, I'm not sure, well, so basically, I'd recommend using a sponge for this. I had an airbrush, but my airbrush keeps breaking. I guess I'm not very experienced, or my airbrush using isn't very good, but I like it, my airbrush, but I don't think I'm very experienced with that. So, yeah, that paint's very low, so could do. Just, what I like to do is just, put a little bit of soot in the area of the grills, the vents, the intake vents, the grills. It's not only soot, it's like gunk that collects on that. So, okay. So, we'll do the other side.